when you go out, and then we talk about techniques and other kinds of things. You actually need both to be well-rounded to go out and do Sankirtan, because what happens often, we talk about just be straightforward, just go out and be really humble and stuff like that, and then a devotee goes out for the first time on the street or something like that and goes, I can't stop anybody. Or, how come they just walked away with the book? Or how come, there is a little technique to it too. So there's a balance. And it's like anything else, if you put a violin in front of me, I'll just make a bunch of screeching noises because I don't even know how to hold it. I don't know, I've seen people do it before, but I wouldn't be able to get a sound out of it really that would be pleasing to anybody until someone came in and showed me a little bit, and then I practiced over and over again. And after about 3 weeks, maybe I'd get one note out that was pleasing. And it's the same way with book distribution. We go out with this idea of humility and practice that, but at the same time, we also have to be like a doctor. A doctor learns certain skills in order to help people. He doesn't just go in there and, depend on his goodwill, but he also learns, how to use a scalpel, and he practices on a cadaver. And, so we should practice these things so that we can help people. We're really going out to inject Krishna consciousness, and you can become expert at preaching. There are all kinds of devotees who are expert at presenting the philosophy in a certain way that people will be attracted to it. And there's a way to present books and prasadam and yourself and everything when you're out in public so that people will be attracted and think, well, I just met a nice person. I just met someone who's actually spiritual. But just by being humble and things like that, it may not do it completely. You may have to learn a few things, like when you get actually out on the street, you'll see that people are moving kind of fast, and their minds are really wrapped up in what they're doing. And, if you just walk up and say, here, Hare Krishna, take a look at this, you'll meet some people that'll stop. But you'll also find that, there's a lot of situations where you go, what should I have done there? And then you watch a Kurnoff and you go, oh, that's what he did. Or you watch any of the distributors who are getting used to like how to take care of somebody so that they feel more comfortable. Because really you're dealing with their mind out there a lot of times, and their mind's going, no, don't take it. And you have to be able to set their mind aside for a second so you can help their soul. And so there's ways to do that in a way that they feel appreciated, they feel respected, and they are. But it takes practice. The repetition of doing it over and over again. When I first started doing book distribution, I remember when I started doing book distribution in San Francisco, and then I had been doing it for some months, and then they asked me to go to Chicago to get trained up in the airports. And there were devotees there that had been doing it for some time and really expert at it. And it was so hard when I got into the airport at Chicago O'Hare Airport. People were moving so fast. I was young. Everyone seemed older than me, and it was an ocean, and I felt like I was just getting bounced around. And I remember sometimes I get so frustrated, I just walk down the corridor by myself and start crying because it was like I really wanted to do it and I couldn't do it. But gradually I just watched what other people did, and I'd practice, and then I'd feel like, oh, now I know how to present to this kind of person. Like every kind of situation, there are stereotypical situations even that you can learn how to deal with certain kinds of people. And you learn that and add it to your repertoire, and you can really only get that by doing the repetition and doing it over and over again and experiencing it. Right, Dayanidhi?
Yeah. It can be good morning or it can be good afternoon. How are you today? And things like that, such as those that are used in social situations, whether they can also be tried in order to establish the connection.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and also everyone has their own way of doing it. Yes, Prabhuji.
So, also, is there a particular time for which we are going to pursue a particular person and just give up on him and go to the next one?
Yeah, that's a good question about pursuing people, and that is to we have to be really sensitive about whether a person is a ripe fruit or an unripe fruit. or somewhere in between. And we have to make a judgment call, remembering that the first thing is to leave people with a good impression, right? So keep this example in your head when you go to pick fruit, and you're going to look for the ripe fruits. And when there's an unripe fruit, what do? Grab onto the fruit and bring the whole branch down, right? Hang on to it, like start yanking? No. You just let it go. So a little detachment really helps. What we do is we use sonar when we're out there. If you ask a question to somebody, or you say like good morning or something like that, and somebody looks at you and goes, oh, good morning, how are you? Then you know you have some person that you can talk to. If you say good morning and you go, no, I'm in a hurry. You don't have to chase them down the street and try to rope them in or something like that. The easiest way is to, put out some kind of a greeting or some kind of a question or something. I shake hands with people. I find that's a good connection. And in California, a lot of people, have you ever seen this kind of handshake? This is people are willing to shake hands when you do this. You put out your hand like this, California, and they'll come over, and then there's like a connection. They feel like, they're connected to you a little bit. So we should, be detached and let, like they say sometimes in sports, they say, let the game come to you. You don't have to, just do the best you can in the situation, and you don't have to chase after it. So don't chase after people and think, I got to get every person. Be a little detached and depend on Krishna and chant Hare Krishna and stand back a little bit. Let people come to you a little bit more than chasing them, or running after them or something like that. And you'll find that it's very successful because people are attracted more to you when you're a little detached. Yeah.
Sorry, so many questions.
Behind the table, and the guy goes, we're all God. And Dianeti goes, we're God-like. And he goes, no, we're all God. And he goes, we're God-like. Or he goes, I know, the guy was saying, I'm God. And Dianeti said, you're God-like. It was back and forth, and there was just a little bit of argument, and I was kind of like, Dianeti, he knew what to say, and he stood up for what was in the book, and he just said it in such a matter-of-fact way, and there was a little argument. It was just a slight thing back and forth like that, and the guy walked away, and he put the books down and he went away, and he came back a half hour later and he goes, what was his exact words? It was unprecedented. He said something like, I take back what I said. He said, I take back everything I said. I'd like to buy your books. And he gave him $25. And I was thinking, now there's that's over the fence. That's like boom. So preaching's exciting too. It's dynamic. It's like anything can happen at any time because you're dealing with free will also. The soul's there, there's conditioning, the mind's there, you see the senses, you see the soul, you see the modes working. You might be in a downtown area where the modes interrupting, or you might be in the middle of talking to somebody who's just about ready to take a book and you've convinced them and they're just reaching for their wallet or something like that, and then all of a sudden, their significant other comes over and goes, Bobby, let's go. I told you 5 minutes ago. And then, what happened? Krishna, this person almost took it, and then they're gone, just beyond your control. And then you suffer also, because what could I have done? I should have spoke faster. And then you do start speaking faster, because you're looking around the environment like, anyone could swoop in at any time. So when we're out there, it's a dynamic thing. And we have to become expert and be aware of our environment, of what's out there and who you're talking with. Sometimes you talk to a group of people where there's 3 people. When I do that, I try to find out who's the most negative person in the group first, and then talk to them, because they're the ones going to ruin it for everybody else. So I have to make friends with them first, and when they're happy, then everyone else could be happy. And so there are a lot of different, nuances and things, and it's exciting, and it's important, and it's more fun than anything else, and you learn more doing this kind of thing than you do in any MBA course.